Welcome to Design Talks Now, hosted by Design Pavilion, created to help inform on architecture, design, and urban planning. I'm Eileen Shaw, producer of Design Pavilion and Design Talks. Today, part 2 of our 3-day series welcomes Norway back into the conversation on symbiosis with nature, a widely shared philosophy in Norway. Sustainability is a deeply seated value rooted in Norwegian design and business practices. What can we learn from Norwegian product development, supply chain, and distribution best practices that will help to build a more sustainable global economy of import and export goods? First, we'll hear from Harriet Berg, Norway's Consul General in New York. The Consul General seeks to strengthen the economic ties and cultural exchange between Norway and the United States. We're very pleased to present Overarching Product Design, Sustainable Production, Supply Chain, and Distribution. And now, let's begin.
Hello, my name is Harriet Berg. I'm the Norwegian Consul General in New York, and it's a great pleasure for me to wish you a warm welcome to Norwegian Design Talks. The Norwegian Consulate General in New York has traditionally worked in the physical space to promote Norwegian business and culture. With the dramatically changing world around us, we've taken the leap into the virtual world, like many of us, and find that there are some advantages in enjoying a conversation over distance and to be able to engage a wider number of stakeholders than we used to. We do, however, look forward to the opportunities to meet you face to face, maybe even in Design Pavilion at a later stage. I'm very pleased that Norwegian Design Talks is a part of Design Talks Now program. In this second of 3-part series, we will hear more about sustainability in production, supply chain, and distribution. Behind a shared human experience, we find a process that also needs to be sustainable for the end product to embrace the resilient, sustainable human design that we want for the future. A big thank you to Greg Johnson, whom the consulate has been collaborating with over a long time in the design space, and that has pulled this production together. I also would like to thank everyone at Design Pavilion that has made Design Talks Now possible and kept conversation about the future of good design during the crisis. I also am very pleased to see Nancy Fire here and thanking her for moderating the discussion. And I'm very happy to see our Norwegian partners in Norwegian Design present. Egil Sunde and Ragnhild Grytten, the panelists from Norsk Industry that we've been collaborating with over a long time to show good, sustainable Norwegian design here in New York. Sonja Djønne, the creator and CEO of Heimat, and Hilde Kavli from Røros Tweet. So I look forward to the conversation and hope that you will join us and have a look at the other conversations as well. Thank you.
Days without sunlight, and nights without darkness. Norway is powered by nature, and so are we. We are a society built on equal opportunities, which might be the reason why we're the happiest people in the world. Our coastline, rivers, and fjords form the backbone of our main industries. That's why we are pioneers within marine technology, agriculture, and energy. Adapting new technology, we must strive to design greener, better, and smarter. By exploring the exceptional, we are pushing for a new standard.
Happy to be here on Design Talks Now. I'm Nancy Fire, co-founder and creative director of DesignWorks International. We're a lifestyle studio in New York City, and I'm also a green leader of the Sustainable Furniture Council here in New York. Today, I'm so excited to have our panelists from Norway to talk about the overarching product design. We're going to talk supply chain, product development, and distribution. So first up is Egil Sundet. He is the director of the Association of the Norwegian Design Industry, has followed these producers for more than 20 years, and has firsthand experience on how they've grown implementing sustainability as an important factor in the production line. Next up is Ragnhild Giet, an advisor and expert on contemporary Norwegian design, working with the Norwegian design industry, and has been following this design scene closely for 15 years. She's worked with several Norwegian manufacturers and designers since the early 2000s, and is aiming to create a bigger awareness on Norwegian designers and the diversity that the Norwegian design industry shows us. Next up is Sonia Dene. She is the founder and managing director of Heimat, a family-owned company in Mo i Rana, just south of the Arctic, building on years of experience from the laundry industry. Sonia and her husband founded Heimat in 2015, and their wish was to combine the quality and innovation of industrial mats with contemporary Norwegian design. Nominated for 2 design awards at ICFF in New York, their designs can be found at the Design Within Reach in the US. Next up is Hildy Kabley. She is the marketing and communications manager at Rojos Tweed. Rojos Tweed has been weaving high-quality wool since 1940 and building on a local tradition that goes back to centuries. Sustainable wool manufacturing of soft goods, and you can find their beautiful goods at Design Within Reach. Welcome, everyone, to our panel today. Egil, what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced in sustainable production development and supply chain and distribution?
Thank you, Nancy. Started 20 years ago. Some of the companies, they were kind of pioneers, and from that on up to today we have been working on change the mindset of the suppliers about how to document the carbon footprint, so to say, and lastly how to make the market ready for sustainable products. So today, you could say it's part of the business model.
How has the legislation and other forms of support in Norway eased some of the challenges around sustainable practices in product development and supply chain?
The government, they do buy a lot of furniture. 5 years ago, they have actually set the goal that they should buy sustainable products. So when they do public tenders, that's an important part of the competition.
Well, it's wonderful being on the Sustainable Council here in the US. Furniture is one of those biggest pollutants because it is a big product, and it's something that we really want to see people utilizing and keeping in their homes. So it's wonderful that you're doing all of this work towards sustainability, especially on the furniture side, as you said. During these recent times in COVID, I know the US is facing more challenges in our supply chain. Are you facing challenges? And if so, what are those challenges during this pandemic?
Yeah, we've had some challenges with the suppliers. We both manufacture our own supply and we import it from like Italy and also some from China. But what we've seen during the pandemic, that suppliers have been changed from abroad to local ones. For me, as working for the entire industry, this is of course very positive. And it also contributes to a lower carbon footprint.
Absolutely. In fact, we're seeing the same thing here in the States. We're seeing localization. We're seeing a lot of manufacturing coming back to the States. I also wanted to talk about the sustainable recycling industry pyramid. In the US, for instance, for us, we see it as a very big industry. It's growing. And we see paper being first, followed by plastics, electronics, and then unfortunately textiles is the least. Can we compare for you as well this pyramid of like recycling and sustainability in Norway?
Over the last 20 years and more, almost 100% fully waste system. So whatever consumer or the industry is throwing away, it's been gathered together. And from this, we have been able to recycle more and more materials. We have the same problems as you have. Aluminium is something that we have achieved maybe up to 70% recycled products. We're pretty good in plastics today as well. But the problem is still with the textiles, I think.
We feel that the same way here in the States, and we're really working tirelessly to really fix that. so we find less textiles in landfills, which we think is so important today. So two more questions for you before we move on to the group. What are some of the key practices that you have noticed over the years across producers when you've worked in Norsk Industries? Are there key practices that you feel you're very proud of?
The most important was that the branch, the sector went together, and we have developed an EPD generator. EPD is Environmental Product Declaration, and this tells us about the product and production process, a total account for environmental and carbon footprint. And this has enabled us to look more into how we produce the products, what kind of materials we use in order to achieve a lower carbon footprint. And I think this is something that we have been really early on. And still today, I think this is the only generator or automatically way of producing sustainability data in the world. So this is something that we are pretty proud about.
Wow, that's really incredible. And thank you for sharing that with us. And we're going to come back to you in just a minute. But now we're going to speak to Ragnhild, who's right next to you. I'm a fan. I know Ragnhild. We've worked together in the design industry. She's been on the design scene for the past 15 years. And basically what she does is she really works with these brands coming into, I guess, the design world, especially on the sustainability side. So can you tell us some of the best practices, Ragnhild, that you're seeing with the brands that you're personally working with on the design side?
Well, first of all, I would just like to thank you for having us here today, and thank you for your great, your genuine interest and enthusiasm for Norwegian design. I think what I see for the past, I think about 20 years since Norwegian design was revitalized after some years of not too much attention, all the brands that start as startups are focusing on design, using designers, and also think sustainability in the production. I don't think anyone doesn't have that as a core of their business when they start up. Here at the Norwegian design industry, most brands, I think they find us and we find them. And I think it's a good place to be. It's an association. So we have 143 different members, all from wool to crystal and glass, ceramics, and of course furniture, outdoor furniture, indoor contract furniture. So we're a wide range of different producers. And I think it's important to be part of a larger group because we are so much stronger together. A lot on our export programs. And also as Egil here works a lot politically to gain more, cooperate more with the Norwegian government. We're so much stronger in getting things through when we can do things together.
Absolutely. And I have to say, it's been a pleasure working with both of you over the past 2 years. And just to see what you've done over the past 20 years and hear the experiences is really incredible. So now we're going to meet some of your producers who actually come to the States that have shown at ICFF and that has fabulous product. I'm happy to say I have all their products in my home. So we're going to start with Sonia. So Sonia, since founding Haymat in 2015, can you tell us how sustainability has changed for your company?
Well, before starting Haymat, I had used these industrial mats in my home for many years. And that was due to my husband, who was in the business of rental mats. And I saw these mats had a great functionality. And I noticed that when visiting friends and family, they tend to have new doormats all the times that I was there. And I thought, why is it so? I had my mat for many years. So I was thinking about this and how replacing the mat, how bad it was for the environment and also for the economy. So this was one of the problems that I wanted to solve when going into Haymat, to make products that are long lasting, because I think that's the most important things about sustainability, is to make products that you can have for many years.
It's interesting. I just want to say one thing. Kudos to you, because that's why I'm such a fan of what you do, because sustainability is part of what you do. It's form and function. And I have your mats and they last a long time and the design is beautiful. So thank you so much for that. We do appreciate all of your beautiful products in the States here. Have the guidelines been updated over the past 6 years for sustainability manufacturing on your product?
Yes, well, we saw that we could do even more. And we thought there was a lot of focus on plastic waste and use of recycled materials. So we thought we wanted to be a part of the solution. So we actually managed to make fabric of using recycled plastic bottles. And today we have products with 50% of recycled materials. And also, like the one behind me here, the fabric is of 100% recycled plastic bottles. So this had changed over the years, yes.
That's incredible. And, I own the one that's behind you. That design is beautiful. Can we talk a little bit about your design aesthetic and where your designs come from? Because I find them very geometric and easy to live with. And I was just wondering where your inspiration is from.
We want to be in the Scandinavian design tradition. And so simplicity and use of colors and a lot of our designs is inspired by nature. Like the one behind me is inspired by a Zen garden and the calm and peace you want when you enter your doorstep and come home. That's what we want to achieve because, as you know, the mat is the first thing you meet when you come home.
I have to say that the color palette to me is beautiful because it speaks sustainability to me. I think the colors that are timeless and ageless, and you can use them for any season in your home. So thank you for that. And then I'm wondering about if you are seeing a change in Gen Z, the generation that is now 25 years old. Are you seeing younger consumers buying your product because it's sustainable?
I see that the younger generation is really up to this and really they are concerned about the environment. So I think that's important, but we see that a lot of generations are buying our products actually, but the young people are focusing a lot on sustainability.
Yes, I agree. I think it's both. I think it's form and function. And I think for your product, sustainability is most important, but also the design aspect as well. So thank you, because your products are so fantastic. I want to talk to Rojos Tweed right now. And Hildy, I have a few questions for you. As a heritage brand, heirloom, as we talked about, what key shifts do you have to make to leverage new technology towards more sustainable practices while maintaining like the craft hand that you have? Can you tell us a little bit more about those practices?
I just want to start by saying, for us, sustainability has always been really core of our business. It kind of comes natural when all our products are made from 100% Norwegian wool. So we work with a very sustainable material. So I guess for us, sustainable practice and maintaining the hand and craft that Rojos Tweed is built on has always gone hand in hand. One doesn't exclude the other. But when it comes to implementing new technology, we are definitely doing that, and we have been for quite a while, especially when it comes to keeping energy usage down and minimizing our use of chemicals. And I think it's just worth mentioning, I think a lot of innovation and implementation of new technology often is done to keep costs down, and often on the expense of people and planet. Our ambition is not to really produce the cheapest blankets necessarily, but it's really important for us not to compromise on our values, which is keeping an old tradition alive and creating quality products that could be passed down from generation to generation, and also keeping production in Norway. So I guess all our implementation of new technology is built on all of that.
So can you talk about a little bit about the localization of where you are? Because Rojos has 3 different companies, but they all use wool. So where does that wool come from? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So Rojos Tweed is part of a bigger company called the Rauma Wool Factory. We're based on the west coast of Norway. And it's a company that's been around since the 1927, family-owned company. We're one of the few in our industry that's still left producing in Norway. And today we spin Norwegian wool, high-quality wool, and turn it into yarn for our 3 brands, which is knitting yarn for the home craft market, and we yarn to our ready-wear collection that's actually 3D printed on these amazing knitting machines. And then we do yarn for our Rojos Tweed blankets and cushions. But our wool comes 100% from our Norwegian sheep, And you asked about traceability and where the wool comes from. So from Norwegian farmers, we have a long tradition in Norway for keeping and taking good care of sheep and wool and turning it into amazing products. And there's about 14,000 farms in Norway that holds sheep and where we get our wool from today.
That's incredible, because localization today is it's really it's a lifestyle, and it's trending in the US because people are looking to lessen the carbon footprint. So basically you're working within really miles of where you're producing, which is crazy, because you're really circling back to how sustainability is important to your company. Can you talk a little bit about why wool and not synthetic fibers like polyester, rayon, or acrylic?
So first, I just want to touch up on a bit of the benefits of actually using wool. For us, it's a sustainable material because, like you said, we have it right here. The accountability throughout the whole supply chain is a key point here. The traceability, the way we've organized our wool production here in Norway ensures traceability from the wool leaves the farmer to reaches our factory. And also enables us to make sure that we have a good animal welfare system and that we know that the animals are treated right and the wool are treated in the right way. Also worth mentioning is little use of chemicals. So the use of pesticides in Norwegian agriculture is generally quite low. And our sheep are outside, most of the year. In the summer, they graze in the outfields where there's no use of pesticides at all. So, I guess that's the key benefits, but also you have wool is an amazing magical material that breathes. It's recyclable, it's renewable, biodegradable.
Yeah, the list goes on and on. So this really is going to open up the conversation to everybody now, because we want to talk about the circular economy. So that benefits business, society, and environment, right? And it seems like Norwegian design has really encapsulated this. So I'm opening these up to the panel. Does anyone want to talk about the circular economy and the benefits that you're seeing in Norway?
Yeah, I would like to add, because this has really been a great day for the industry. Because this morning, Norwegian time, we got the news that it's going to be built a new furniture factory just outside Oslo, and it will be the most modern, sustainable factory. It will take care of 95% of the water used in the factory will be reused, recycled. It will only make furniture from Nordic sustainable wood, trees, and it will have solar panels on the roof.
Amazing.
And these panels will produce enough energy for the factory and also from the Tesla trucks that they have ordered. That's going to go from the factory in Norway to the other factory they already have. And the factory is designed by the Bjarke Ingels group, big group, which also designed the Tesla headquarters, I know. And this company, it's Vestre, and they are really in the forefront of sustainability. So it's been a great day, and it's a good day to have this talk.
That's amazing. And can you tell us when this factory will be up and running?
Start building it this autumn, and I guess they will be ready next summer.
Talk about a circular economy. You're saying that all of the wood is going to come from Norway?
Yeah, from Scandinavia, over sustainable forests.
Fantastic. So I'm assuming as they do that, they'll be planting more trees. That will be recycling the trees as they use trees.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fantastic. So what do you think other countries can learn from Norwegian efforts in energy, supply, distribution, as applied to product development and distribution? Because, when I look to Norway and I look to your everyday sensibility for sustainability, it's natural, and your design is natural. I think that there are so many lessons that we can learn from your country. And I just wanted you to all share some tips, whether it's on the product side, the design side, the supply chain side. I just want to open up the conversation to everybody.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good things going on within sustainability, and there's a lot of innovations. So for us, we hope to be on the top of this and always producing sustainable products. And for us, there's 3 dimensions that it's important. The functionality of the products. And I think that's also a really important part in the sustainable discussion, because you need functional products and you need durable products. And there's the design. and the sustainability, and all the products we are delivering has to be good in all these three elements. And for us, we are looking both on the labeling, the packaging, and the transportation, and we hope to do even more to be better. And that could be looking at other business models, it could be looking at other ways to marketing, it could be looking at reducing labeling even more. We have the environmental focus in everything we do, and we will continue doing that.
Do you see your business growing into other products now that you have an amazing foundation?
Yeah, it might be. But I think it's really interesting to stay on the floor, because I think there's a lot of innovation that could be done on the floor.
And I just want to say too, like, your packaging is amazing. When I received your beautiful mat, it came in a tie back sort of yoga bag with beautiful handles. So I thought that was genius, because it feels like your carbon footprint in your packaging is minimal. So I thought that was form and function. And I think that's and kudos again back to Norwegian design, because it's beautifully done. So Hildy, I have a question for you as well on your beautiful products at Rojos. Do you foresee creating any different products going forward? Right now you have a few, if you can talk about those, but also talk about the wish list going forward for your product on the sustainable side.
I mean, definitely, like, the more and more I work with wool, you kind of start seeing all these amazing opportunities and possibilities that you can use wool for. So yeah, most definitely, like, there is possibilities that we could move into. I mean, it is Tweed, like, we've been around for over 8 years and mainly done blankets and cushions. But in the recent years, we started working with more fashion designers. So last year, we collaborated with a Norwegian brand called Tom Wood, and we created some amazing, beautiful jackets. That was really popular, and the public was loving it. So yeah, definitely, there's nothing in the plans at the minute, but yeah, definitely. On the wish list, we have a lot of the same things that Sonia mentioned, especially when it comes to sustainable packaging. We're really looking into that, like, how can we be better on that side? And also transportation, like, we do really want to get our products out into the world, but how do we do that in a good and sustainable way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Reinheld, I have a question for you. Can you talk to us a little bit about the excitement of the younger generation? I know what's happening here in our country. Our younger generation is very boisterous, and they absolutely love form and function. So sustainability and design. What are the key things that you're seeing about this younger generation coming into play when they want to work with Norsk Industries?
Well, I think we have, I don't know how much you know about the Danish and the Swedish and the Finnish design, but we're kind of the little brother to the rest of the Scandinavian countries. We found oil in the 60s. The rest of the Scandinavian countries, they were focusing on design and furniture and creating other products. But we found oil, and we kind of forgot the wonderful design history that was booming at that time. We have fantastic design that from the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s that are coming out now. But I also think it made maybe our designers more free compared to the Danes and the Finns and the Swedes, who also had this like really heavy tradition of being these wonderful designers that has been out. Young designers today they feel free, and of course working with producers like Heimat and Røros Tweed give them the freedom to be creative. And both Sonia and Hilda are using some of the most wonderful designers we have, and especially these females that are coming up that kind of were pioneers as well. You see the products become timeless. They are beautiful. They will last for a long time. And it's something that they all almost becoming classics already.
Looking back at the wealth that Norway acquired due to oil, what are you doing today that is going towards sustainability?
Yes, it's true. In Norway, it's a pretty huge oil and gas industry and exploration. But beside this, we have also an energy industry. So all industry companies in Norway, all consumer households, they get their electricity from hydropower. It's 100% sustainable. So the oil and gas, yes, we have it. It's exported, 99%. And what we are doing in Norway now is that the oil platforms, in just a few years, they will all be electrified using hydropower. They have reduced the carbon footprint a lot.
So how much of these factories are run by hydro versus oil?
Oil and gas, that's offshore. it's been exported. The factories, the electricity in homes, always been hydro.
Okay, so I'm going to open that back up to Sonia and Hildy to talk about some of the designers that you're working with. And we talk a little bit about the design aspect behind these sustainable brands.
We work very closely with the designers, and there's a lot of things to think about when designing a doormat. You don't see it, but there are several colors in the design. So the dirt and the moisture isn't shown that much. Maybe especially the female designers, they have kids themselves. They want to make functional products. Design is both the way things look, but as important is the functionality, that design creates good functionality. I think both the designers and the customers are coming back to us because the design is working.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to circle back for a minute on sustainability and how it's changed like your process from manufacturing to supply. Have you been finding it easier as you go on? Are you finding it more difficult to design within the sustainability guidelines?
I find it easier. Everybody's innovating and finding new products of waste. And I think that's a good thing. And I think in some years, the sustainability will not be
a question.
It
Exactly.
it will be something that's obvious.
We're just creating newness, beautiful product out of elements that years ago would be considered waste. So Hildy, I want to open up that question to you on the design side as well. Are you finding that your designers are coming to you because it's about sustainability, it's about the ethics behind your designs? You have so many, and you work with so many different brands. Is there like a key statement in your company that allows you to work with certain designers who too are so concerned about sustainability?
I think a lot of designers are drawn to this tweed because of the long tradition. There's something really interesting and tactile about wool, and then going to the factory and just seeing the whole process from the raw material to the finished product. It's also about almost passing on the knowledge of how to treat the wool and how to deal with it. So we're not just taking a design and then it's there and out in the market, but actually part of the whole process. So I think, of course, sustainability and working with sustainable materials, I think for a lot of people is really interesting.
Yeah, and I think for you guys, it's really transparency. Your company, what you see is what you get. I mean, you have the heirloom, the heritage. You've been doing this for years, and you've been doing it the right way. So I would assume that sustainability and Rojo's tweed is growing together, because that's truly how you started. You really did start as a very sustainable company before it was, trendy. And now you're living that dream after, I think it was 1940, so you're really living that dream for so many years. So I applaud that. So I have one last question, which is probably going to go to Egert, I have a feeling. When exporting to other countries, how do you ensure that sustainable supply and distribution are in place? Are there matters in transportation that are more sustainable than others?
Well, yes, this is a great challenge, in fact. But export to the US is basically by ship. The ships, they are going pretty empty from Europe, or at least from Norway to the US. So it's kind of filling in the blank sides of the container ship, for example. We also see the change from diesel to more energy efficient ships, so it's improving. But of course, transportation is one of the bigger challenges with being sustainable, as well as the material used in the production.
Fast forward 10 years, okay, on the technical side and on the design side, where do you see Norse Industries?
I think in 10 years' time, a company has to be sustainable, a company has to make a profit, and it's a given. And we can see from what you heard in these talks that younger designers, they have this already within them. And I think for my generation, we need to adapt. And in 10 years' time, we will be there.
Maybe have an even closer collaboration with schools and the design schools in Norway. We do have Norsk Industry. We do have an internship. We pick 2 students that can come to one of our manufacturers for about 6 months of practice. Because there's something about coming out there from creative studies to actually see how it works in real life, and think commercial, and how can they be able to live as designers. It's hard, and there's a lot of designers coming out of their fantastic schools. Yeah. Then again, collaborating on different levels.
I love this collaboration. I hope one day that we can all collaborate together on product, because I am so inspired by everyone here, and I'm so happy to be here on the Design Talks now, and wishing everyone a great sustainable future. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy, Eagle, Runhild, Hilda, and Sonia, for your sharing and for your careful practices with the planet's well-being at the core of your intentions. And thank you all for joining us. Tomorrow we present part 3 of Norway Design, when we focus on materials, a discussion with an international perspective. So until then, stay safe, stay smart. Design stands together.